So in June of 2022, I remember this night so clearly. There's a string of storms that came through our area. And with those storms were straight line winds and tornadoes, one which hit eerily close to our house. So I was dead asleep that night, and I was awoken by this huge boom, so loud that I jumped out of bed, and right after that boom, I hear these cracking sounds. And I knew a tree was falling. So I, out of instinct, just threw my body over top of the bassinet that was right beside my bed that held our 7-week-old baby. It was terrifying. As that night went on, more storms came rushing through our area, and Phil and I were in our living room like, do we wake up the kids? Do we let them sleep? Do we go to the basement? Our basement is creepy. So I was good being in the living room, but we sat through that whole night just huddled together as a family, hoping and praying that our house was going to make it through this storm. After that, our electric was out. We all tried to go back to sleep. I was not sleeping. I was full of way too much adrenaline. But as the sun came up the next morning, Phil and I went outside, and much to our surprise, the biggest tree on our property had fallen, and it fell just 2 to 4 feet away from the head of our master bed and where our little baby was sleeping in his bassinet. If you know anything about physics, you know anything about the way storms come in at our house, it made no sense that tree didn't fall directly on top of our master bedroom. It was a work of the Lord. It was the protection of the Lord that night that kept that tree from falling directly on top of us. We have a lot of moments in our lives where we make these memories that we are never going to forget. And that's one for me. When storms come in, when winds start rushing, my mind goes there and I have a choice. Am I going to view that moment in fear, remembering how scary that night was? Or am I going to live in remembrance of what God did for our family through protecting us that night? Joshua chapter 4 is a call to remembrance. You see, these Israelites had just walked through the Jordan River on dry ground in chapter 3. And now in chapter 4, the Lord is asking the Israelites to have one person from each tribe grab a stone and create a memorial. It was important to the Lord that the Israelites remembered what He had done for them, to remember the miracle of them walking through on dry ground. We see this theme throughout the Old Testament over and over, particularly in the Israelites' journey from Egypt to the Promised Land. The Lord is constantly saying things like, tell your children, tell your children's children, remember, build an altar, etc. He knows that there was something so important about remembering what the Lord had done for them. Even in His continual reminders to remember, the Israelites would still forget. In moments of forgetfulness, we see their rebellion and we see their disobedience. An example of this is in Exodus 32, where Moses goes up on the mountain to get the 10 Commandments. At this time, the Israelites were encamped at the bottom of the mountain, and they got anxious. They got impatient, and they got frustrated. And in this time, they brought together all the gold from the camp, and they made a man-made golden calf idol to worship. You guys, just months ago, the Lord had split the Red Sea for these people. Like a massive miracle. Not only did He split the Red Sea, but He also destroyed the enemies that were chasing after the Israelites. And here they are, forgetting what the Lord had done for them. God knew what He was doing when He asked us to remember. We see this theme carry on into the New Testament. Jesus, just moments before He was to be crucified, was in the upper room with His disciples, and He said to them while taking communion, "Do this in remembrance of me." He wanted them to remember. He knew how important it would be for us come in the future for us to remember His faithfulness, to remember His blood that was shed for us, and to remember His body that was broken for us. God knows that for us to remember the faithfulness of Him through the past in our lives, He knows that that gives us assurance of His faithfulness in our present lives, and also gives us assurance of who He's going to be in the future to us as we walk with Him. Remembering the faithfulness of God is anxiety's defeat. Remembering his faithfulness through the stories of Scripture, through the stories in your life, the things that he's brought you through, these are anxiety's defeat. When we start feeling anxious, where's the money going to come from? How am I going to live through the grief that I'm experiencing? How do I do this, Lord? How am I going to deal with this medical diagnosis? It's anxiety's defeat to remember that the Lord has always been faithful and he will always be faithful. Remembering the faithfulness of God is the root of gratitude. And gratitude is a catalyst for pure worship. When we remember the things that the Lord has done for us, it changes our mind. The idea of gratitude in mental health, gratitude elevates our mental health dramatically. And I'm telling you, when this leads to the truest form of worship, the enemy has no hold on our lives when we're living a life in a state of worship. We can chase the effects of remembering the Lord's faithfulness far and wide. We can go down these trails of gratitude, and gratitude leads to this, and this leads to this, but it all comes back to remembering what the Lord has done for us. Our testimonies are so powerful. In the Bible, we hear God saying, tell your children, tell your children's children, grandparents. It's so important that your grandchildren know the story of God's faithfulness in your life, that they know the story of your encounters with the living God. It's important for you too, parents. Share it with your kids. Share it with your kids' kids. Let's keep this going. The more stories we have of God's faithfulness, the more assurance we have for our situations we are in right now. Even through the rest of the book of Joshua, I encourage you, sit with your families. Come up with something together, a visual reminder of the things that the Lord has done in your lives. With this study, you've got a journal. Take the time to write down the things that God is doing in your life, what he's teaching you, and what he has done. So I want to end with asking you a question. If you were to think back on your life, what is one story of God's faithfulness in your life that you would share with the next generation? What is something that God has done in your life where you've encountered him or he's moved in a miraculous way? And I want to encourage you to share that with your family and share that with people around you. Let's consider all of these things as we continue our journey through the book of Joshua.